It's Saturday, February 8th, 2025. It's the 39th day of the year, and we've got some big-time winter storms on the way. A train of them, as I explained yesterday. Don't know where the caboose is, but man, it's going to get quite active out there over the next couple of weeks. Starting today, we've got widespread winter weather watches, warnings, and advisories in the Northeast, especially around Boston there. The entire state of Massachusetts, the entire state of Rhode Island, and Connecticut are under winter storm warnings. We're going to see lots of snow tonight into tomorrow morning. We've got winter weather advisories that go down into West Virginia and Virginia. South central portions of Pennsylvania here are under ice storm warnings. And we've got winter storm warnings back here towards the Twin Cities, over towards Green Bay and places like that. So things are quite active already, but it's only going to get more interesting as time goes on. Here's a look at what the radar could look like today around 3 p.m. Eastern. You can see that we're going to have that snow covering the entire state of Wisconsin up into the UP of Michigan. It's going to be working its way into the oven mitt as well. But look at all the pink down here from Chicago over towards Cleveland. This is going to be our mix. All right, this is going to be our freezing rain. We do have a pretty good chance of seeing some sleet and freezing rain accumulation down here. It could cause some problems, but the farther east we go, the more concerning that gets. Once again, right there in south central portions of Pennsylvania, that's where I think we're going to have the most ice accumulations, and make sure you're ready for some power outages over there. Heavy snow in eastern Pennsylvania by 8 p.m. tonight. Western New York, you guys are going to be getting in on that as well. It's going to start off as heavy snow in the New York City metro right around 8 p.m. or so. On the backside here, we're going to have isolated thunderstorms moving along the cold front from Pittsburgh all the way down past Lexington, Kentucky towards Memphis. And what do we look like at midnight tonight? It's no longer snowing in New York City. We've switched over to sleet. The rest of the state of New York, though, should be experiencing snow. We've got heavy snow in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, and it's starting to snow moderately more in the White and Green Mountains up into the Berkshires. This is going to be all snow for Maine, but especially southern Maine. That's where the heaviest snow is going to be. There's going to be a brief period of time where we switch over to sleet right at the end of the storm, I believe, for Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, but I still think places like Boston are going to get in on plenty of snow. By the time we get to 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, this will be completely out of our hair. Let's talk about snow totals. Some places have already picked up some snow, like over there towards Minneapolis. On top of that, you could see another inch or two. Over here in the eastern portions of Wisconsin, we're expecting 5 or 6 inches. General 2 to 4, though, for the vast majority of the state. UP of Michigan, same thing for you. The northern extent of the oven mitt of Michigan, 2 to 4 inches is what we can expect over there as well. The hot spot is still going to be over here in the northeast, in the Adirondacks, White and Green Mountains, western portions of Massachusetts. 10 inches of snow is going to be possible, especially in the higher elevations, but a general 4 to 8 inches of snow is the consensus for even the valleys all the way over there towards southeast New Hampshire and southern Maine. Boston still looks like about 4 to 8 inches is what we could expect over there. I wouldn't be surprised to see up to 9 inches, but general 4 to 8 is a good bet. Also, New York City, we've been talking about you guys being on the line between rain and snow this whole time. That's still the case, but on the onset of this storm system, it's going to start off as really heavy snow, and you might get 2 or 3 inches really fast before the sleet and rain comes in and washes it all away. Maybe over 1/10 of an inch of ice from northeastern portions of Indiana through northern Ohio. This is going to cause some travel problems this evening. But once again, the heaviest icing is going to be right here in the panhandle, I guess, of West Virginia and Maryland and into south central Pennsylvania. This is where I expect to see some places approaching a 1/2 inch of ice, which will cause some isolated power outages and also just some very dangerous conditions on the roads. So make sure you are ready for that. All right, looking farther into the future, we've got storm number 2 coming right after this one. This is the day 4 outlook, February 11th through 12th. We've got now a 70% chance of significant wintry precipitation in eastern West Virginia and western portions of Virginia. This also includes a 50% probability over there in the Washington, D.C. metro. This is not looking quite as robust as what it was looking like the other day. It's not as big, but the signal is still very strong for significant winter precipitation over here, so we're going to keep watching it. But this doesn't quite look as much like the big East Coast storm like it was originally maybe kind of looking like. And that's why it's so important to not show snowfall totals and, all the really exciting maps too early, because, this stuff changes so much. It's not even funny. But what hasn't changed, and the only thing I've shown you guys, is this blob, this blue blob over here, the location of where the signal for our next storm is going to be. That hasn't changed. It's still coming, but maybe it'll be a little bit less impressive. But hey, if you were looking forward to snow over there or anywhere, don't be disappointed, because we're going to have a lot of more opportunities. Right after this one gets out of our hair, we've got a giant 30 to 50% probability area of significant winter precipitation as we go through February 13th. Okay, so Missouri all the way up through Indiana and Ohio, all the way up into Michigan, southern Ontario, and of course the interior Northeast again is in line for another major winter storm. This is also a very strong signal, and this one's bigger. So the precipitation shield here, the snow part of the storm, is likely going to impact a lot more people. This would be storm number 3. Storm number 3 is going to continue off to the north and east on February 14th, likely dropping a significant amount of snow in Maine, okay, up towards Nova Scotia. And then look at this. We've got high probabilities for snow and wintry precipitation over here in the west. This is storm number 4. And of course, we're watching that one as it moves farther east as well. There's already a highlighted area of a pretty good chance of a winter storm on the day 7 outlook for places like Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, maybe over there into Michigan once again. So how far north it is, how far south it is, all of these different little metrics are going to change. That's why it's too early to talk about, snow totals and stuff like that. I think for tomorrow's video, we'll actually be able to talk about snow totals for this storm, because we'll be about 3 or 4 days out. But still, the big takeaway here is that there's just so many opportunities for snow coming up. Almost everyone's going to get in on something. Let's take a look at the GFS ensembles here. This is storm number 1 exiting the region. Cold air stays in place behind it. Our next storm's really going to start coming together around Monday in the form of some snow from South Dakota down into Missouri. I know at a couple points in yesterday's video, I got North and South Dakota mixed up. I saw a bunch of comments about it and I didn't believe you guys, but I went back and watched and yep, I did. So sorry about that. South Dakota, you guys are going to be getting in on some snow on Monday, maybe some mixed precipitation in Arkansas, and then watch how that very quickly progresses off to the east and doesn't become this large system that curls up the coast like we originally thought it might. This is still going to bring significant wintry precipitation to the I-95 corridor over here, the mid-Atlantic region between Richmond, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., maybe even up towards Philadelphia. It doesn't look like right now it's going to be a huge East Coast storm. Tomorrow, we will tell you more about what the exact impacts are going to be. We'll talk about potential snowfall totals, how bad's the ice going to be with this one, and all that good stuff. But just know that, hey, trust the process here. We've been talking about a signal for a storm over there for so long, and it's actually here. It's actually going to be coming within the next couple of days. Wednesday, February 12th, we're going to be starting to watch storm number 3 back here, dropping heavy snow in Kansas likely on Wednesday. Maybe some wintry precipitation as far south as into Oklahoma, Arkansas once again. And then this one's going to become a big system. This one's actually going to become a deepening mid-latitude cyclone that rips up the East Coast. How far east is it going to go? How far west is it going to go? We don't know yet, but whoever ends up on the cold side of this storm is going to be in for a really significant winter storm, I believe. And then whoever ends up in the warm side is going to be likely receiving some severe weather and certainly some flooding rains. So that one's going to be really interesting to watch as it moves off to the north and east. There we are on Thursday, February 13th, with potential intermittent blizzard conditions happening over here in southeastern Ontario, southern Quebec, up into Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. That's going to be a big one. Already you see storm number 4 over here covering the mountains, the Intermountain West, with a ton of snow, lots of energy coming in off the Pacific. What happens with that? Well, it turns into another storm that maybe brings even more snow over here to the Midwest, up into the Great Lakes region. So I can pull this out even farther, and then like it just doesn't stop. So we've got a lot of energy, a lot of storms on the way. I don't know where the caboose is on this storm train, but what I do know is we've got a lot of opportunities for snow and ice, and we also have a lot of opportunities for heavy rain. The only people that are not going to be getting in on the rain is pretty much like right in this corridor. So like over here in California and Oregon and in Washington, all of these storms are going to start off as kind of like atmospheric rivers dumping tons of rain onto the Cascades and the Sierra. That's going to be a problem over there. And then as the storms move across the Rockies and start, feeding in on that Gulf of Mexico moisture, then the rain starts dumping down here in the southeast, where once again, the Appalachian Mountains in Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama, I am really concerned about this. This is showing anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of rain over the next 7 days. This will lead to flooding, potentially significant flash flooding if a lot of that falls in a short period of time. And then I'm also concerned all the way back towards the Mississippi River, where, it looks like there's going to be a lot of rain. Some of this is welcome. Some of this is going to fall in areas that probably don't want to see any more rain. So just make sure you keep an eye on those creeks and streams if you live in a flood-prone area down here. And that's all the weather talk I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll have an update for you tomorrow. We're really going to nail down those snow totals and the exact impacts for our next storm that will be impacting West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, those areas. And should be a good time. And then buckle in. I mean, I ain't going anywhere anytime soon. I don't know when I'm going to stop doing daily videos if this pattern holds up. So turn notifications on so you never miss one. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. Ooh.